guys, it's Abby. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing another ginormous book haul. So for the past month I have been buying a lot of books even though I really need to stop. It's kind of a problem, but it's fine. So I went to Fayetteville about 2 weekends ago. Me and my husband, we went up there just to see my brother and have a little trip away. I went to Dixon Bookshop, which is a used bookstore up there, and I bought a couple of books there. And then I ordered a couple from Amazon, and I went to Books A Million last night and I bought a couple then. Anyways, it added up to a very large number of books that I have now, which I'm going to show you. So without further ado, let's get over on to the book haul. So the first book I have for you is Dress Code for a Small Town by Courtney Stevens. And basically this follows a girl named Billy McCaffrey, and she is the daughter of a preacher, and she's in love with her two best friends who are a boy and a girl. So she's in love with both of these people, but they're in love with each other, and she doesn't want to like ruin the dynamic of her friendship. And this story basically follows her trying to break gender stereotypes and small town roles that have been placed upon her and all of her friends. I think this is going to be a really good read. Honestly, I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot more, mostly because I am from the South and from a small town through the Bible Belt, so I understand what it's like to have those stereotypes. And so I'm super excited to read this and see how I feel about it and see if it changes anything phenomenally in my life about living in a small town. The next book that I have here is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I actually started reading this already. I'm only on page 24. I picked it up last night after I got it from the bookstore, and basically this follows a girl named Rachel who meets this guy named Nick. They've been dating for about 2 years now, and one summer he invites her to meet his family in Singapore. But she doesn't know that he is crazy rich. Obviously, it's in the title, but she doesn't know that. So this story follows her going to Singapore with him for 10 weeks, meeting this crazy rich family and seeing how he lived whenever he was growing up. And I feel like it's just going to have a lot of crazy adventures, a lot of love, and it's going to be such a fun read. The next book I got is Light Filters In Poems by Caroline Kaufman. And this is about, it's just a book of poetry about what it means to be humans. I don't particularly read poetry. I've just never really found myself loving poetry, but this looked really good, and I thought it would be really helpful to read because you know, what it means to be human, how to find happiness and things like that. And so I thought it would be really cool to read this and see, maybe it'll make me fall in love with poetry. I don't know, we'll see. So I'm super excited to get into this. Plus it's like just really cute cover, and I'm kind of obsessed with it, so we'll see. Next I have Classic Tales of Horror by Edgar Allan Poe. This is a collection of some of his short stories that he has. It has some of the more famous ones like The Cask of the Amontillado and Telltale Heart, and then it also has some that I've never heard of. But I am obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe, to be honest with you. Like, I absolutely love his horror stories. They're just so crazy, it's hard to describe how they make me feel. I mean, they're horror stories, but they're so dark and interesting, and I love reading about them. And I also got this cup, this coffee mug. It says, "Pour me a cup." Is that not the funniest thing ever? This shows you my obsession with Edgar Allan Poe and coffee. Look at that. It also has my bookmarks that I have. Since we're doing the little cup thing, I'm going to go ahead and show you the bookmarks that I've bought recently because I've been obsessed with buying bookmarks. The first one I have is this little like cloth bookmark. You stick it in like the edge there and it goes in. It's super cute. I got it off Etsy, and honestly it was only like $3 and I'm probably gonna buy more. I also got these book plates. I thought they were just so adorable, and if I ever loan out a book I can just stick a book plate in there and then be like, hey, you have my book, look at the book plate, it's in there, I will hurt you. And then I also got this cute little bookmark, and it's actually got like, it opens up and it's got like a little thing inside of it, and I thought it was so adorable, and it's like a little book that you put inside of a book. And then I got one last bookmark that is my absolute favorite, and it's this Mary Queen of Scots bookmark. You probably don't know this, but I am obsessed with Mary Queen of Scots. I can tell you so many things. I took a course called Tudor Stuart England, which I learned about Mary Queen of Scots like so much. I've seen the show Reign. I'm about to go watch the movie Mary Queen of Scots soon, and I'm so excited, like absolutely obsessed with her. So if you have any Mary Queen of Scots book recommendations, put them in the comments because I Love her. The next book I got is Matilda by Roald Dahl, and this follows a girl who lives with a really bad family, and then she discovers she has these magic powers, and she goes to this school, and she does everything to stop her crazy principal, Miss Trunchbull. And I'm sure you've heard of this. It was made into a movie, Matilda. I've never read the story, but Matilda is one of my all-time favorite movies. And so I was at Books A Million last night, and I was like, I've got to buy this. I've got to have it, and I have to read it because I absolutely love Matilda. I could watch it all day, every day, and be completely happy. So I am hoping that the book is just as good as the movie. I'm sure it is, but we'll have to see how my perspective is since I've grown up watching the movie and absolutely loved it. The next book that I have is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've actually already read this book, so I got it Saturday and last Saturday, and then I read it. Wow, I finished it so quickly because I was obsessed with this book. So it follows this band, Daisy Jones and the Six, in their rise to stardom and then why they broke up in the 70s. And honestly, it's so good. You just need to read this book. Taylor Jenkins Reid has done it again. After the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, she came out with Daisy Jones and the Six, and I have a conspiracy theory. The next book is going to be something with 5 in it. She's going to count down from 7 to 1. I don't know why, but going from the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo to Daisy Jones and the Six, it's probably going to be like Maria Castiato and the 5. I don't know. I'm being weird. It's fine. The next book I have is Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This follows the first book, which is Illuminae. It's the second book in the Illuminae files, and it's about what happens after Illuminae. It follows Hannah and Nick on the station where the Hypatia is supposed to be landing, and it follows them who they're trying to save their station, and they're trying to help end Bitech, and just crazy things happen. And of course, it's like the last one. It's got all the cool little like things inside of it. So I'm super excited to get to this. I mean, it's even bigger than the last one. It's like 700 pages. But I think it'll be an easy, quick read just because of the format of the book, and so I'm super excited to get this because I absolutely loved Illuminae. Alright, so this book is called Wildwood Imperium, and I bought it at Dixon Street Bookstore because I thought it was so cute. It's a middle grade book, and it's got like this map in the front of it, but I didn't realize this is the 3rd book in a series, and I'm probably not going to buy the first 2 because I really just bought this book for its looks. So, I'm probably going to end up like giving it away or something, maybe donating it to my library, something like that. I don't really know. I just know that I'm probably not going to read it, and I'm probably not going to buy the first 2 books. I bought it on a whim just because it was beautiful, and I loved the dust jacket, and it has a little bear on the front of the cover. And so, I don't know, maybe we'll see. Maybe if I'm just really bored and I want a good middle grade, I'll buy the first 2 books so that way I can read this. The next book I have is How She Died, How I Lived by Mary Crockett, and it follows this girl who gets a text from this guy named Kyle. It has actually 5 girls that he texted, and the only one that responded, he brutally murdered. And so a year later, on the eve of the death of Jamie, it follows this girl who is not named in the synopsis, but she is trying to cope with the death and why she wasn't the one that was killed and Jamie was. So it seems really interesting. Oh, her name's Lindsay. Oh no, it's not Lindsay. I don't know what her name is, okay? But it follows her trying to cope with it. She is falling in love with Jamie's boyfriend, Charlie, and anyways, it just seems like a really interesting read to deal with death and why you weren't the one that was chosen and the story behind that. So I think I'm gonna really enjoy this. The next book I have is What You Left Behind by Jessica Verdi, and it follows this guy who gets this girl pregnant, but she has cancer, and so she stops doing chemo and has the baby, and she ends up dying. And so it follows him raising the baby, dealing with the loss of her and all of that. And so I think it's going to be really heartbreaking, but it's going to be a really good story to read. Next I have Rain and Delilahs Midnight Matinee by Jeff Zintner, and this follows 2 girls who are named Josie and Delia, and they create a horror show, and they're about to graduate, and Josie wants to go off and Delia wants her to stay. She's also trying to find her father. And so I got this in my uppercase subscription box, and I'm super excited to read it. It looks really, really good, to be honest with you. It looks like a fun story, but also it's going to have some great meaning to it. So I'm super excited to jump into this whenever I get a chance. The next book I have is Napping the Bones by Jane Yolen, and I'm pretty sure that this is a Hansel and Gretel retelling. It's about 2 kids named Chame and Gittle, and they're in Poland, and it seems like an urban fantasy that is also during World War II, and it seems really good, honestly. Urban fantasy, historical fiction, and fairy tales, those are all things that I love, so like wrapping it all in one book I think is going to be really, really interesting to read about. The next book I have is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan. I don't know how to say that, but it follows this girl who is from the lowest caste called the Paper Caste, and each year a new girl is chosen to serve the Demon King, and when she's there she breaks the rules and falls in love and is fighting for her freedom. And honestly, it's a high fantasy and it sounds really good, and I'm pretty sure she actually falls in love with another girl, and I may be wrong about that, but I think that's what I heard. But high fantasy, I absolutely love high fantasy, and so I'm really excited to get into this. I've heard such good things about it. It's super hype, so I hope it actually lives up to the hype. The next book that I have is Dear Evan Hansen by Val Emmett. Alright, so this story follows a guy named Evan Hansen, and this guy named Connor Murphy sends out a letter and apparently talks about Evan Hansen, and in the letter he says that they were best friends even though they weren't, and Connor Murphy is now dead. So Evan takes this opportunity to pretend that he was Connor Murphy's best friend so that way he can actually look like he has friends, not disappoint his family, and everything in his life absolutely turns around. He's not an outcast anymore. He is looked upon like somewhat of a hero because he was really good friends with this. He gets close to Connor's family and things like that. Then everything starts to fall apart, and you see what's going to happen to Evan after everybody finds out that it was all a lie. And this sounds really good. I mean, it's kind of messed up in my opinion, just because how are you going to pretend to be a dead guy's best friend so that way you can get popular? I don't know, but I think that it'll probably discuss that in this book, like how messed up it is. I'm not really sure, but it does sound really interesting, so I'm going to pick this one up soon, hopefully, and I'll let you know what I think. The next book I have is The Forgotten Book by Matilda Glasser. I hope I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. And it follows this girl named Emma who is used to things going her way until one day she finds this book in the library, and anytime she writes what she wants in it, it magically happens. And so everything is going so great for her. She has this book, she gets whatever she wants, but somebody else is after this book as well. So now that she has somebody coming after her, she has to figure out what to do and how to help herself and help the book. And so I think this is going to be really interesting. It kind of makes me think of the second Harry Potter movie when he writes in Tom Riddle's diary. I know things don't come true, but like that's what it makes me think of. You know, you write in a diary and then things come true or things happen. And honestly, I'm getting real Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets vibes, and I'm super excited about that. And the last book I have here is An Abundance of Katherines by John Green. I read this in high school. I got it from my library, but I really wanted to own all of the John Green books because I am a huge John Green fan. And so I bought this book while I was on Dixon Street in Fayetteville. Basically, it follows this guy who is a child prodigy, and he is failing at his child prodiginess, and he only dates women named Catherine. He's been dumped 19 times by 19 different Catherines, and now he's trying to find out the theorem of the underlying Catherine predictability. And so I've read this book. It's been a while, so don't really remember what happened, but I know that I really enjoyed it back then, and so I just had to own my own copy. So that's what I did. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching my book haul. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time.